back to Enterprise of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Bryce, talking about you and your business. Sam Coyle, he's staying with us in another segment. Delighted to have him with Netrepid.com, N-E-T-R-E-P-I-D, Netrepid.com. Sam, you guys do great stuff. I consider you thought leaders in your industry. Tell us a little bit more about Netrepid before you introduce your guests.
Yeah, sure. Netrepid is a data center provider. We help companies evolve their technology from the ground to the cloud and take advantage of some new emerging technologies without having to go through the capital expense to do it on their own. And with us today, I have Steve Shaw. He's the director of product marketing for Juniper Networks.
Well, welcome to the program. Real quickly, can you give us, Steve, your website before we get started here?
Certainly, and thanks for having me. I'm with Juniper Networks. It's juniper.net, and please feel free to drop by. We've got a lot of information out there.
Sam, the first question.
Yeah, Steve, obviously we've talked a lot about software-defined networking lately, and that's a pretty big part of your role over at Juniper. I thought maybe you could first talk a little bit about how that's really implemented more of an open architecture with terms to networking and product development.
Yeah, thanks for the question. You know, I think SDN is really going to change the way data centers are built and, in fact, the way organizations operate going forward. It's really going to provide an enormous amount of automation. It's really going to simplify how we're able to connect up these workloads and how we're able to really get the power of the cloud going. And really, I think central to all that is the ability to go get the best-of-breed components and be open about what we're trying to do. I think the open source movement has really taken hold over the last couple of years, and I think enterprises and even service providers alike are starting to see the benefit of being able to collaborate, to be able to put code out into the network or out into the community, and really start to drive this sort of group effort in trying to build the best products for the market and for the networks.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the company. How old is it? A little bit about the number of employees. You know, some of those basic questions, if you will.
You know, Juniper's been around for a while, almost 20 years now. Really got started as a startup here in Silicon Valley as a high-performance networking company. We're about $4.5 billion now, a little over almost about 10,000 employees. And one of the things that's fundamental to Juniper has always been sort of the precursor, what I would think, to SDN as we know it today, really separating out data plane and all this great data traffic that we've got going through from a control plane. And that's one of the architectural fundamentals of SDN, and it's something that Juniper has built into its products from day one. And so we see what's happening now as a natural evolution to our story and our product vision.
Very good. Sam?
I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about how the software-defined networking product line, which is certainly different than your traditional networking of, you know, VLANs and switches and those types of things. Maybe talk a little bit about how Juniper has implemented that technology to allow some of these other manufacturers and technologies to take advantage of the open architecture.
Absolutely. You know, SDN's a big phrase, big umbrella, big tent there. We got a lot of different technologies that can be covered under the SDN umbrella. One of the things that Juniper is very excited about is our recent acquisition of a company called Contrail. Contrail brings a network virtualization technology to the market. And what I mean by that is there's still going to be boxes and you're still going to need to connect things up. But what Contrail is able to do is create an overlay network, a virtual network over your existing physical infrastructure. I think that's a key point, over your existing infrastructure, that simplifies how we connect up different workloads, different clouds, how we can connect clouds across each other from your private cloud to your public cloud, that sort of thing. And what Contrail is bringing to the table is, you know, without getting too technical, it's this idea of simplifying how networks are built. So instead of having to go to the command line and type in some commands and say, connect this network to that network and these routers to these routers, that sort of thing, we've taken much more of an object-oriented approach, much high-level approach, where you say, I want to connect this to that, and the code, the system does that all for you. So you get much more of a natural language approach rather than really having to roll up your sleeves and dig down into the bottom of how routers are configured. And I think that level of simplification is going to come through in spades as customers get started.
Yeah, I do want to mention that Juniper can be found at Juniper, JUNIPER.net, and of course Intrepid.com, and you can find our guest, Sam Coyle, our contributor rather, Sam Coyle, at NETREPID.com. Your next question, Sam.
And see, obviously this is a different philosophy in networking. You know, when I first started, I sat down at the keyboard and I programmed the VLANs, much like what you talked about. And it seems in this type of technology, with the way you guys have deployed it, it's almost become kind of thinking, living beings in a network more so than a static device. Would you say that's accurate?
Absolutely. I think, there's going to be some initial cost savings maybe from some capital expense, that sort of thing. But really the advantage that I think our enterprise customers and our data center customers are going to get out of this is the agility, the ability to be able to make changes much, much more quickly. We've seen the power of virtualization really come to life in compute. Companies like VMware have really driven, the idea of starting up new machines and starting up new workloads down to minutes, that sort of thing. But networking has sort of been held back due to some of the complexity there. And so we're really excited about what we're able to bring to the market through Contrail because it really does provide that simplification. And I think with simplification, we're going to start to see this agility, the ability to get the best that you want out of your network, to be able to connect things up faster, to be able to move workloads around faster, move into this public-private hybrid environment, that sort of thing. And I think that's really where the power of SDN is going to come to the table for most people.
I got to wrap up the segment. Do you want to mention again? They can learn more about Juniper at juniper.net, and of course, again, Sam at Intrepid.com. Sam, final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to point out that we've used the SDN networking in our data center, and it's certainly given us a great ability to integrate some of these other technologies more seamlessly than we've been able to do in the past with some of the static networking devices. So Juniper has been a great player for us, and it certainly helps us achieve that goal.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Great interviews today from you, Sam, and really enjoyed your guest. And thanks so much for being with us, Steve.
Gentlemen, thank you.
You bet. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you the best content here, it shows up over there at usdatareview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. You're listening to The Price of Business.